Zara had a secret, one that nobody could guess. Not because she was in need of food or free drinks, but because she adored the thrill of slipping into events meant for others, blending in as if she belonged and vanishing before anyone could connect the dots. She had mastered the act of pretending to be a distant cousin, an old college friend of the bride, or a colleague of the groom. With her charm, impeccable eyes, and a winning smile, Zara always slipped by unnoticed, and up till this point, she had crashed over 20 weddings without being caught. But this Saturday was different. Dressed in a gorgeous emerald green lace, her hairstyle to perfection, Zara entered a luxurious wedding reception in the heart of the city. The venue was breathtaking. Sparkling chandeliers, fresh flowers in every corner, and a live jazz band setting the mood. Zara straightened her earrings, held her head high, and stepped in with the grace of someone who had every right to be there. Her plan was simple: find a spot, eat, dance, and then leave unnoticed. But destiny had other plans. As she made her way to the buffet, her eyes locked onto a man. But not just any man. He was tall, broad-shouldered, and exuded confidence. In his sharp black tuxedo, he had an air about him that made heads turn. His smile was disarming, his laugh contagious, and there was something about his presence that instantly drew Zara in. She felt her heart race. "Who is that?" she whispered to a woman standing nearby. The woman smiled knowingly. "Oh, that's Derek. He's the groom-to-be. He and his fiancée Bella are tying the knots next month." Zara's stomach sank. Groom-to-be? Naturally, he was taken. A man like that couldn't possibly be available. But still, there was something about him that intrigued her, a magnetic pull she couldn't ignore. Then, as if the universe were playing a cruel trick, Derek turned and caught her staring. Their eyes met, and for a brief moment, everything else faded away. Derek grinned and approached her. "I don't believe we've met," he said, his deep voice sending shivers down her spine. "Are you a friend of Bella's or mine?" Zara quickly regained her composure, offering a smile. "Oh, I went to the university with Bella," she lied effortlessly. Derek nodded, seeming to buy the story. "Ah, I see. We've had a few gatherings, but I don't think I've seen you around." Zara gave a soft laugh. "I've been living abroad for a while. Just got back recently." A waiter passed by, and Derek took 2 glasses of champagne, handing one to Zara. "Welcome back then," he said with a warm smile, as their fingers brushed. When she took the glass, Zara felt a spark of electricity run through her. Derek's eye darkened for a split second, and she knew he had felt it too. For the next hour, they chatted about anything and everything. Zara had never felt so alive, so in tune with someone. But deep down, she knew she was playing a dangerous game. She was falling for a man who was about to get married to someone else. Just as Zara was about to excuse herself, a sharp voice cut through their conversation. "Derek, there you are." Zara turned to see a stunning woman in a tight red dress storming towards them. Her eyes were filled with suspicion as she seized Zara up. "This is Zara," she interjected quickly, forcing a smile. Bella narrowed her gaze. "How do you know my fiancé?" Zara's throat went dry. For the first time in all her years of wedding crashing, she felt cornered. "She?" Derek began, but Zara cut him off. "I was just about to take my leave," she said quickly, setting her glass down on the nearest table. "It was lovely meeting you both." Without waiting for a reply, she turned and hurried away, her heels kicking on the polished floor. For the next few days, Zara couldn't get Derek off her mind. His voice, his smile, the way he had looked at her. It haunted her. Then one evening, her phone buzzed. Unknown number. "I need to see you." Her heart skipped a beat. She didn't have to ask who it was. Against her better judgment, she replied, "Where?" A few minutes later, another message appeared. The rooftop bar at the Grand View Hotel. 9 p.m. Zara knew she should ignore it. She should delete the message and move on. But she also knew she wouldn't. That night, she found herself on the rooftop gazing at the city lights. The cool breeze swept through her hair. Then she felt him before she saw him. "You came," Derek said quietly, stepping up beside her. "I shouldn't have," Zara admitted, her heart pounding. "But you did." They stood there for a moment, the city sprawling before them. Then Derek sighed. "I don't know what it is about you, Zara. I'm supposed to be focusing on my wedding. But since meeting you, I haven't been able to stop thinking about you." Zara's breath caught. "I don't want to be the reason your wedding falls apart," she whispered. Derek exhaled deeply. "The truth is, my wedding was falling apart long before I met you." Zara turned to him, wide-eyed. "What do you mean?" He ran a hand through his hair. "Bella and we've had problems for a while. She's been controlling, demanding. I ignored it, thinking it was just stress. But then I met you and everything changed." Zara's heart pounded. "Derek, I don't know what to do if," he admitted, his voice low. "All I know is that when I'm with you, I feel like myself." She looked away. "I don't want to hurt anyone." He reached out and gently took her hand. "And I don't want to lose you." Zara's mind screamed at her to walk away, but her heart was telling her something else. The cool night air brushed against Zara's skin as she stood, her hands still held in Derek's. His touch was warm, and it sent an unexpected rush of emotions through her. She had always been careful to keep her distance, to never let herself get too entangled in anyone's story. But this felt different. She felt the weight of his words, the genuine turmoil in his voice, and yet something in her mind screamed for caution. "I don't know if I can do this," Zara murmured, pulling her hands back gently. "I've been in situations where I have ruined things without meaning to. I don't want to be the one to tear apart something that was supposed to be good." Derek's eyes softened as he took a step closer. "You're not the problem, Zara. It's me. It's always been me. I've been ignoring the cracks in my relationship for too long. I've been settling for comfort instead of real love." Zara could feel the sincerity in his voice, but it didn't make the situation any easier. She knew that stepping into this mess would mean heartache for her and for others. She would be the villain in someone else's story. But in her heart, she couldn't ignore the pull she felt towards him. "I'm not saying you to fix everything, Derek," Zara said softly, "but I can't just walk away from this either. If we are going to do this, we need to be sure." Derek's expression grew intense as he nodded. "I am sure, Zara. I have never been more sure of anything in my life." She took a deep breath, her mind racing. She had always lived her life in a controlled manner, crashing weddings and then vanishing before the consequences caught up with her. But now, she was standing at the edge of something much bigger. This wasn't just another game. This was real life, and the stakes were higher than ever. "I don't know what the future holds," she said, finally meeting his gaze, "but I'm willing to find out with you." Derek smiled a genuine warm smile. That made her heart race. "I'll make it right, Zara. I won't let you regret this." They stood in silence for a moment, the city lights shimmering below them, as if the universe has decided to grant them a second chance, even if it was uncertain and messy. The days that followed were a whirlwind. Zara and Derek couldn't keep away from each other. They exchanged secret glances, whispered conversations, and late-night calls about their future. Every moment together was intoxicating, but they both knew They were walking on a thin eye. They were caught in a delicate dance, hiding their bonding feelings from the world, from Bella, from the life they were supposed to lead. But as the wedding day approached, the tension between them grew. Derek's relationship with Bella was in the brink of collapse, and every encounter with her felt like it was pushing him further into Zara's arms. He knew he had to make a decision soon. Zara found herself caught between loyalty and desire. She knew she was a part of something that wasn't hers to fix, but she couldn't deny the connection she had with Derek. She tried to remind herself what she did. She had always been the one who walked away before things got complicated, but Derek was different. And for the first time in a long while, Zara wasn't sure she could just walk away. The wedding day arrived and everything seemed to be in motion. Bella, radiant in her wedding gown, looked like a woman about to start the next chapter of her life, while Derek, standing at the altar, looked like a man already living in two worlds. Zara stood at the back of the venue, just outside the sightline of the guests, watching the couple as they exchanged vows. As the ceremony continued, Zara's heart pounded in her chest. She had been trying to stay away, to keep her distance, but the gravity of the situation was undeniable. Derek's eye kept flickering to her, a silent plea for help, a quiet admission of his feelings. And yet, here she was, watching him marry another woman. A part of her wanted to run, to leave and never look back. But the other part, the part that had spent the last few days wrapped up in this whirlwind of emotions, refused to walk away without knowing the truth. After the ceremony, the reception hall was filled with laughter, music, and celebration. But Zara's mind was elsewhere. She found herself making her way to the back of the venue, towards the garden where Derek had disappeared. "Derek," she called softly, her voice carrying over the sound of distant music. He turned, his eyes filled with a mixture of longing and guilt. "Zara, what are you doing here?" "I had to see you," she replied, stepping closer. "I can't do this anymore. I can't pretend that everything is fine when it's not. You can't keep running away from the truth." Derek's shoulders sagged as he closed the distance between them. "I don't know what to do. I'm about to marry a woman I don't love the way I should. And it's because I've been afraid of hurting her, afraid of myself, but I can't keep living this lie." Zara reached out and took his hand, her eyes filled with understanding. "Then don't marry her, Derek. Follow your heart." His voice cracked as he spoke. "But what about her? What about the wedding? I'm already made promises." Zara gently cupped his face. "Promises mean nothing if they are not backed by the truth. You owe it to yourself to be happy, to live the life you were meant to live. If you are meant to be with me, then you have to take the leap." Derek leaned in, his forehead resting against hers. "I will. I'll take the leap. I promise." As the night continued around them, full of music, laughter, and the sound of a new beginning, Zara realized she wasn't just crashing another wedding. She was part of her own story now, one that was filled with hope, uncertainty, and the chance to ride the future together. The days following the wedding were nothing like what Zara had expected. Derek and Bella's wedding had ended in the most dramatic fashion possible. It wasn't a picture-perfect affair like it was supposed to be. The tension was palpable, with Derek taking the difficult but necessary step of calling off the wedding midway. It was shocking, it was bold, and it left a trail of stunned faces and unanswered questions. Zara hadn't planned for any of this. She had simply walked into the wedding, confident in her ability to blend into the crowd and slip away before anyone noticed her. But now she was at the center of a life-altering event. Derek had made his decision. He was no longer going to live in the shadow of a marriage that wasn't built on love. He didn't want to be with someone out of the obligation, even though he had known Bella for years and the more he thought about it, the clearer it became. Zara was the person he couldn't stop thinking about. She was the one who made him feel alive. But there was still the issue of Bella. It wasn't easy. She wasn't going to just disappear, not after everything they had shared. Derek knew the right thing to do was to confront her, to give her the closure she deserved. But the guilt still ground at him. As for Zara, she couldn't help but feel the weight of the situation. She wasn't proud of the role she had played. She wasn't sure where it would all lead, but she couldn't turn back now. Her heart was tangled in this mess, and for once, she didn't want to walk away. She wanted to find a way through, even if it meant facing the consequences of her action. One afternoon, Zara received a text message from Derek. "We need to talk." Her fingers trembled as she read the message. She hadn't heard from him in days, and now he wanted to meet. She knew what this was about. They had both been avoiding the conversation, and it was inevitable. The question of what came next hung between them like an unspoken truth. That evening, Zara met him at a small cafe, one that was secluded enough for a private conversation. She could feel the weight of the moment as she walked in, her heart pounding in her chest. Derek was already there, sitting at a corner table, his hand wrapped around a cup of coffee. His face was tired, his jaw clenched, but when he saw her, a soft look passed over his features. Zara had quietly, his voice carrying a hint of regret. "I don't know how to begin." Zara sat down across from him, her eyes searching his face. "You don't have to apologize. I knew this wasn't going to be easy." He sighed, setting his cup down. "I'm not apologizing for choosing you. I'm apologizing for everything that came before. I never meant for any of this to happen, and I hurt Bella. I should have seen the signs earlier. I should have made the better choices." Zara took a deep breath, trying to hold back the surge of emotions rising within her. "You can't change the past, Derek. What matters is what we do moving forward. You can't be living in guilt, and neither can I." Derek leaned forward, his gaze steady. "I want to be with you, Sarah. I know it's messy. I know it's complicated, but I can't ignore how I feel. I can't pretend that what we have is wrong." Zara looked away for a moment, letting the words sink in. She had been terrified of this moment, the moment when everything would become real. But now, hearing Derek's honesty, it felt like a weight lifting from her shoulder. "I want to be with you too," she said softly, her voice barely above a whisper. "But we have to be sure. We can't rush into it, not when everything is still so raw." Derek nodded. "I know. I just want you to know that I'm all in. I have made my decisions and I'm not turning back." Zara felt her heart race. For the first time, it felt like they were both standing at the same crossroad, ready to take the next step together. But there was still so much to figure out, so many obstacles ahead of them. They couldn't undo what had already been done. "I think we need time," Zara said, meeting his eyes. "Not to run away from this, but to figure out how we move forward without hurting anyone else. I don't want to be the reason people suffer." Derek smiled faintly, his expression softening. "We'll figure it out together, I promise." The next few weeks were a whirlwind of conversations, decisions, and difficult choices. Derek had to confront Bella, explain everything, and take responsibilities for his actions. It wasn't easy, and it didn't go smoothly. There were tears, anger, long nights spent in silence, but Derek knew it was the right thing to do. Zara too had to come to terms with the fallout from her actions. She wasn't proud of how things had unfolded, but she had also learned something important along the way. She wasn't a wedding crasher anymore. She was someone who had found a deep connection with another person, someone who made her feel alive in a way she had never imagined. One evening, after everything had settled down, Derek and Zara sat together in the park, watching the sunset. Do you ever regret it? Zara asked softly, her eyes on the horizon. Derek shook his head, his gaze fixed on her. Not for a second. I regret how we got here, but I don't regret you. Not at all. Zara smiled, her heart swelling with a mix of emotions. Me neither. As the sun dipped below the skyline, they sat in silence, knowing that the road ahead would be anything but easy. But they also knew that they would face it together, no longer hiding in the shadows, no longer running away from the truth. Weeks had passed since the dramatic events at Derek's wedding. The dust had settled and things had begun to find their own rhythm. But Zara knew that the life after crashing a wedding and after all the decisions she had made wasn't ever going to be the same. She had always prided herself on being able to slip in and out of people's life unnoticed. But now here she was at the center of a life-altering story. There was no more hiding in the shadows, no more pretending to be someone she wasn't. This was her reality, and with Derek by her side, she knew it was a time to face the future with courage. Zara sat on the couch, flipping through a photo album at Derek's apartment, the soft hum of the city echoing outside. Her phone buzzed and she glanced at it. It was a message from Bella. Bella, I think it's time we talk. Can we meet tomorrow? Zara's heart sank. She had known that this moment would come. After everything that had transpired, it was inevitable. Bella deserved answers and Zara knew she couldn't avoid it forever. She looked up at Derek, who had entered the room, his expression serious but warm. I got a message from Bella. She wants to meet me tomorrow. Derek sighed, sitting beside her. I'm sorry, Zara. I wish there was another way, but I can't hide from what I did to her. I'm ready to face whatever comes next. Zara nodded, her fingers brushing against his. We both have a lot to face, but it's time. We can't keep living in the past. We need to move forward. The next day, Zara and Derek met Bella at the quiet cafe. Bella looked different, her eyes red from crying, her posture stiff with unresolved hurt. There was no turning back now. I never thought it would end this way, Bella said, her voice shaky. But here we are. Derek, I just want you to know why. What happened to us? Was I that blind? Derek reached out, his voice soft yet steady. Bella, you didn't do anything wrong. It's not about you. It's me. I ignored the signs. I ignored the way I truly felt. But Sarah, she opened my eyes to what I had been missing. I'm sorry. Zara swallowed hard, her own emotions rising to the surface. She had known this was going to be difficult, but seeing Bella's pains was harder than she had expected. I never meant for this to happen. I never wanted to hurt you. This wasn't just about me and Derek. This was about realizing that sometimes life doesn't go the way we plan. But that doesn't mean we should keep living a lie. Bella wiped her eyes, letting out a slow, shaky breath. I love you, Derek. I still do in a way. Or maybe this is for the best. Maybe you and Zara. Maybe this is your story. I don't know if I will ever fully understand it, but I don't want to hold you back. Zara's heart ached as she watched Bella. This wasn't easy, but it was the only way forward. After a few more tense but honest moments, Bella stood up, offering both of them a small but genuine smile. I wish you both the best, she said, her voice steady despite the sadness in her eyes. I really do. And with that, she left. Over the next few months, Derek and Zara took their time to heal. There were ups and downs, but they faced everything head on. They knew their relationship wasn't without its challenges. There were people who judged them, who whispered about the way their love had come to be, but they didn't let it sway them. Derek had been through so much already, facing the consequences of his decisions. learning from them, and becoming someone more in tune with his emotions. Zara too had realized that she wasn't just a woman who crashed weddings, she was someone who had learned to embrace the vulnerability of real life with all its messiness and unpredictability. One evening, they sat on the balcony of Derek's apartment, watching the sunset over the city skyline. Zara leaned her head on Derek's shoulder, her heart full as she thought back to how far they had come. "I still can't believe we are here," Zara said softly, her fingers tracing the rim of her wine glass. "After everything, we made it." Derek kissed the top of her head, his voice warm and filled with love. "I told you I wouldn't let you regret it. We didn't just crash the wedding, Zara. We started our own story." Zara smiled, feeling a weight lift off her shoulders. "And I wouldn't change it for anything." Their fingers intertwined, the promise of their future unfolding in front of them. Together, they had faced the storm of the past and now stood ready for whatever came next. In the end, Zara realized that she hadn't just crashed a wedding, she had crashed into a new life. One that was messy, real, and filled with unexpected love. She and Derek had learned that love wasn't about perfection, but about the courage to face your truth, no matter how complicated. And as they walked forward into their future, they knew that whatever happened, they would face it together. Because sometimes the best stories aren't the ones you plan. They are the ones that find you when you least expect them.